Hi YouTube, Happy New Year. So it's 2020. It's January the 1st, 2020. So that means everyone in the language community is kind of making their language goals for the new year. And I thought I would share mine really briefly. I'm actually really excited for them because I feel like 2019 I made some progress. And I'm hoping to continue that progress and maybe add a new language or two by the end of the year. So my main focuses are going to be to continue working on improving Spanish and Italian. I feel like with Spanish, I really made a breakthrough with the reading. Some intense reading was very helpful. So I feel like I made good progress there. I want to keep up with that, and I want to be more active with speaking and writing in Spanish. And with Italian, I feel like I made a breakthrough. I think I pushed myself to high beginner or low intermediate. So I'm going to start doing some intensive reading in Italian. Intensive reading and listening. So I'm excited to get going with that. Aside from that, I'm also doing the Lingua Franca challenge for Japanese until May. And I want to also work on improving my Mandarin because I really slacked on that. That's the only thing I'm disappointed about myself with. So we're going to fix that in 2020. I want to get my Malay back up to a low intermediate level, which shouldn't be too difficult, but we'll see. I'm also going to be doing some Latin, but it's going to be slow progress. I don't have any real defined goals. It's just going to be when I feel like it, throw some Latin in there. Those are my main focuses. Aside from that, if I can, by the end of the year, I want to add French and Korean because I watch a lot of K-dramas and it's kind of useless if I'm not learning Korean. And I also want to dabble a bit in Catalan again because I started that. I started learning it through Spanish. So I'm going to try and get back into that sometime during the new year. Aside from that, those are the basic goals I have. And I also created a bullet journal for my languages for 2020, which has more detailed goals. So I'll show you a little bit of that and what that looks like in a second. Alright, so this is the journal I'm going to be using for my language goals and keeping track of my language studies for 2020 and maybe some future dates. So I started off, over here we have the languages that I've been studying and I plan to continue for sure into the new year, into 2020. So I tried to put what I thought my level was at the end of 2019 and then what my 2020 goal is. So Spanish, I'm somewhere in the intermediate level and I want to get to C1 eventually at some point. Italian, I put myself as B1. It's somewhere intermediate and I want to get to B2/C1 by the end of the year. With Malay, I've studied a bit in the past on my own, so I put myself at an A2 level and I want to get to B2. Mandarin, because I took some semesters in college of Mandarin Chinese, and because the class was so small, I had to use it a lot. So I feel like I got some of the basics down. My textbook series is technically an intermediate textbook, but I honestly don't feel on an intermediate level yet. So I put A2 as my best guess. So we'll see, but I want to get to a B2 by the end of the year. With Japanese, I put myself at an A1. I have tried to study it on my own in the past, but I didn't stick with it, didn't get far enough. So we're going with A1, and I want to get to a B2. I'll be focusing on Japanese really up until May, so so up until May because of the Lingua Franca challenge. Then Latin, I do want to get to some Latin. I put myself at an A1, completing it. Probably be A0, A1, whatever. And I hopefully want to get to B1 at the end of 2020. But we'll see because Latin's not a main focus, but it is one I want to get started on this year. And then the other thing I decided to do was to have, I divide the year up into quarters. And I want to have 3 focus languages each quarter. So by focus, I mean I will study for at least 30 minutes a day for a total of about 900 minutes a month. So January through March, I'm going to be focused on Japanese, Italian, and then the third one was either going to be Mandarin or Malay, or it might be both. I might do Malay in January and then Mandarin February, March. I'm not sure yet though, so I'll figure that out later. And I also did a brain dump over here. Just of all the languages I've either dabbled in, studied a bit, or I want to learn. So I'm pretty sure I want to add French by the end of the year. All right, that's like my final big Romance language that I want to get to like a C1 level at, so I should start that. In Catalan, I started learning through Spanish, so I'm probably going to end up dabbling in that throughout the year, but I don't have a solid plan for it. Korean's another one I definitely want to try and add by the end of the year. I'm not sure if I will be able to, but I want to try because, I mean, I listen to a lot of K-pop. I watch K-dramas. I also think the Korean language is just like really pretty to read and write. So, and to speak too. So I want to actually properly learn some Korean. Let's see. We have German. I just finished at the end of 2019 the 6-week challenge in German. I was planning to continue it, but I don't have a solid plan yet. And honestly, I'm kind of like, I don't want to say burnt out maybe, I guess. I guess maybe disappointed in myself because I had a goal to finish the Deutsch Interactive A1 course and maybe the A1 and A2 course, and I got through half of the A1 course. So I feel like I did like nothing for German, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself. So I don't feel motivated or happy about it right now. So we're gonna hold off on that, but I might get back to German, touch on that. I want to learn a bunch of ancient languages just to like be able to read them more or less. Afrikaans. All right, so I dabbled in Afrikaans for one of the Lang Jam weekends in 2019. And I watched both Lindy's video and then Siebold Speaks video, where he is studying some Afrikaans kind of because of Lindy and her channel and her influence. And I love Lindy's channel too. So, and he posted, and Siebold's posted a video where he did like a study session for like an hour. And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to go back to Afrikaans now. And I've been listening to some music in Afrikaans, so I may dabble in that because of YouTube. I may study a little bit. We'll see. In Irish, I was going to start it if the local center in my city offers classes in 2020 for beginners. If they do, I want to finally get started in that language. I did try to like start it on my own, but the pronunciation and the spelling was like confusing me. Even after watching the video explaining all the pronunciation changes that happen when certain letters follow other letters and so on, and I feel like I should take a class because not only will it give me a good introduction to the language, but I'll meet other people that are also interested in Irish culture, heritage, language, and so on. So, I can socialize with people too. So this is depending if I can get into the class or not, if they offer it. And Finnish is there because I am currently doing a month and a half long Lang Jam challenge. But I joined kind of late, so it's like a month for me. On a language Discord server. So I got assigned Finnish. So I started playing with that a bit. I think I filmed some things for it. I don't know if I'm going to make a video or not, to be honest, because I don't know if I'm continuing with Finnish or not. But I'm having a little fun dabbling. It's the end of the year. Why not? Alright, so now for my more detailed goals. So this is my Spanish spread. And just to start over here really quick. This page, I plan to read 3 books a month or 36 books by the end of the year in Spanish. Sounds very ambitious. I read a lot in English. I read over 100 books in 2019 between English, Spanish, and whatever the language. I think there were a couple of Italian ones. And children's books counts, I have really short romance novellas in Spanish. The ones you can buy at like Walmart that are like 150 pages or so. They're like really tiny paperbacks that are really quick to read. So it sounds like 36 is a lot, but if you keep in mind that some of those books are going to be really, really short, it shouldn't be that difficult to achieve by the end of the year. And I kind of am trying to replace my English reading, or most of my English books, with Spanish books. So I'm trying to read more in Spanish than in English. if that makes sense. So because I read a lot in English, I want to try and read a lot in Spanish, and I'm hoping that will help me to continue to improve my Spanish. So that's the goal, 36 this year. That's what I'm excited about because I love reading. Like I said, I read like over 100 books in 2019. So I love reading, and this is a goal I'm definitely excited about. But I have a couple other little goals. I have a goal to read. This is like bad Spanish. Just ignore it. It was like 1 a.m. This is, okay, so I plan to listen to 360 minutes of audio a month, or 90 minutes a week. So like an hour and a half a week, which should not be difficult. And I want to write 12 diary entries or journal entries a month in Spanish. So that's like 3 a week, I believe, more or less. So I have a K-pop journal, I have a personal journal, and I was going to start, actually I think just those 2 for now. Yeah, so I have my K-pop journal and personal journal, so I should be able to achieve that goal. And then I want to speak 4 times a month and record myself speaking it. I might not post it, but that's the goal. Because I need to focus more on actually using Spanish through speaking and writing. So that's what I'm going to be focused on for Spanish in 2020 each month. For Italian, I want to read a book a month or 12 books by the end of the year. I want to by the end of the year, listen to 4,500 minutes of audio. That's about half of a super challenge for those that know what I'm referencing. Otherwise, don't worry about it. It's just a lot of TV, basically, a lot of audio input. And then the next time the super challenge comes around, I want to sign up with Italian. Because I just finished one in Spanish and it helped a lot. So I want to do the one in Italian next. And then I want to do 2 diary entries or journal entries a month in Italian. So pretty simple right there. It's mostly going to be reading and listening focused for 2020. And then over here we have Malay, which I should already be at like a B1 level at, but I let that slide. So let's focus. For the end of the year, I want to read 5 books in Malay. And I think I have 2 physical books and 1 ebook. So good luck to me finding more books because that's a little challenging. I can find Indonesian books, but I'm looking for like Malay editions. And then I also want to listen to 120 minutes of audio each month, which is, 30 minutes a week. So like 1 TV episode at least. And I want to write 2 journal entries a month in Malay. Over here in Chinese, I want to listen to 30 minutes of audio a week or 120 minutes a month. And then I want to finish my textbooks because I want them to be put away so I don't have to open them anymore. So I have Chinese Link Level 2 Part 1. I'm halfway through it already. Chinese Link Level 2 Part 2, which I don't own yet, but I do want to buy just to complete the series. This series is the textbook I used at college. I don't know if it's probably not the best for teaching yourself unless you get the audio with it, or you can find the audio. But I do want to finish the series. I like the way the book is actually set up. It's just like you need the audio with Chinese. Like everything else about the book I really enjoy. It's just you need the audio and you need like a teacher. And then I have Learning Mandarin Through Conversations. It's technically the second book, but I had no problems jumping right into it. So I'm not going to bother with the first book, which is probably like really beginner stuff that I covered in Chinese Link Level 1. But I found the Mandarin Through Conversation 2 to be a very nice complementary textbook alongside the Chinese Link series. So there's less exercises and less grammar explanations with the Mandarin Through Conversation book, but it has audio and it has some dialogues and vocab. So it's a good complementary textbook. Those are my Chinese goals. And then for Japanese, I want to do 2 journal entries a month. I want to listen to 30 minutes of audio a week or 120 minutes of audio a month. And I want to finish the Japanese for Busy People series. I have books 1, 2, and 3. I just put book 1 in here for now. And I'm working on chapter 15 in the books. So I should be done with that beginning of the year, definitely. And then Latin, I didn't fill out yet. But basically, I have the Oxford course, part 1 book. And then Relox Latin, that huge book with like all the goodness inside of it. All the grammar explanations, beautiful. So I hope to work through those 2 books. If I can finish them by the end of the year, that would be fantastic. I don't have any reading goals or listening goals. Latin's kind of a dead language, but people do have podcasts in Latin. So I have to figure out what sources. I'll have to experiment with sources that I find for Latin this year. Figure out which ones I like, which ones I don't. But I do have those 2 textbooks to work through. And I don't have any solid goals, but I do want to touch Latin like significantly enough that I put it in the book. So I will get to Latin, and I'll probably redefine my goals at some point. But that's what I have for now. Pretty open-ended there. And I think that is it for right now. So Latin, Japanese, Chinese, Malay, Italian, and Spanish. Those are my focuses for 2020. And like I said, I was probably going to try and add French, Catalan, maybe Korean, and maybe German back in. And then Afrikaans maybe, because YouTube, thank you. And then maybe some Irish if they have the classes available. But that's the plan so far, and I'll rework it as I continue on through the year and study. But there you have it. That's my language learning plan, my language learning goals for 2020.